Right.
Yeah, I have like this, because I have a deviated septum. I'm just talking about some sinus stuff, Debbie. And since doing this every night, the massage with this wash off stone, like this side of my nose, which is usually kind of more inflamed, has like gone down. So if you do it consistently, it really can kind of change.
I'm going back to the
Sinus.
office on Monday, just to say to him. It's anything, cause if not, then hopefully this will work.
Yeah, try it.
Well, I'll try anything.
Can't hurt. That's for
Nope.
sure. Okay, so I went to the beach this past weekend, took my kids, my husband couldn't go. He had a prior commitment. And I went to stay with my brother and his girlfriend at their beach house with my two kids. I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. So it's like a big, and it was their first trip away from home, aside from, we've stayed at my parents' house here or there. But this is different. They've never been there before, totally new experience. And they had a very good time, and I really did not. And I was kind of surprised by it because I'm very close with my brother and his girlfriend, but this is the first time I've really stayed with them. And it was like a totally different experience than I was expecting, because they don't have kids and they just didn't kind of get it, what like goes into traveling with kids and just, their normal routines. And I didn't expect them to. Before I had kids, I didn't get it. But they were kind of very critical about it, and it felt awful. My feelings felt really hurt the whole weekend. And I just kind of on the drive here felt like, when I got back on Monday, felt like I could recover from it. It was a really tough experience for me. And I was thinking about, I always kind of take what's going on in my personal life and weave it through the lens of yoga for my classes. And I was thinking about just how much yoga, the practice of yoga, prepares us for the things in life that make us uncomfortable. Those times and periods where we're kind of sitting in discomfort for a length of time. Not that doing yoga makes the discomfort any less, but in a way it kind of gives us a tool or a framework or a practice, at least, to kind of become introspective about it, or to be aware of how we're sitting inside of ourselves. And I found this quote that I just love from Pema Chodron. And it's a little long, but bear with me. And she said that in life, we think that the point is to pass the test or overcome the problem. But the real truth is that things don't really get solved. They come together for a time, then they fall back apart. And they come together again and fall apart again. And it's just like that. Personal growth and discovery come from letting there be room for all of this to happen. Room for grief, for relief, for misery, for joy. Suffering comes from wishing things were different. Misery is self-inflicted, and we are expecting the ideal to overcome the actual, or needing things or people or places to be different for us so we can then be happy. Let the hard things in life break you. Let them affect you. Let them change you. Let these hard moments inform you. Let this pain be your teacher. The experiences of your life are trying to tell you something about yourself. Don't cop out on that. Don't run away and hide under your covers. Lean into it. What is this lesson in the wind? What is this storm trying to tell you? What will you learn if you face it with courage? With full honesty, lean into it. I just love that message that we can take these things in life that are uncomfortable or difficult, or the times where we're not happy or we're feeling miserable, and use that as a mirror to self-reflect and to see what it is that we can learn and gain from. So we'll play with that in our practice a little bit. So let's all take a comfortable seat. You could sit propped up on something if that feels better on your body, so that the tops of the thighs are higher than the knees. And then close your eyes. Sit up nice and tall. And see if here you could practice giving yourself some room and space. You can do that first by noticing your physical body and making any necessary adjustments so that you could find a little more comfort and ease. Could allow your legs and hips to get heavy and rounded. As you breathe in, lengthen the spine, take your shoulders up, back, down. And bring the center of your head right over the base of your spine. Slide your hands back on your thighs until your elbows meet just underneath your shoulders. Welcome your breath. Relax your tongue in your mouth. Soften the skin on your face. Let your eyeballs descend gently back into their sockets. And then here, as you gently breathe in and out, could you practice this idea of leaning into what you find? Of allowing there to be space and room for your body to feel exactly how it feels right now. How often do we wish our bodies were different? Can you practice letting there be room and space for all of your feelings? Just be yourself as you are. Without the gaze of what other people think. Without your own judgment or perspective on how you should be. This is one of the most beautiful things about children is that they are just as they are. They don't care what others may think. This is also one of the most difficult things about parenting is to hold space for them to experience all of that without ourselves being triggered, regulating our own emotions. So when we step onto our mat, we're practicing this art of containment, creating a space for ourselves to be just as we are, to sit inside of ourselves. However we might be in the moment. Take one hand, put it right on top of your heart. And as you breathe, let the space under your hand fill up. And feel your heart lift. Maybe you can feel your energy become slightly uplifted. Maybe just this act of placing a hand to our own heart gives us the gift of tenderness. There's a powerful exercise that I sometimes do where you place your hand just like this and forgive yourself for something. So maybe you do that here too. And then please bring your hands together in front of your heart. my invitation to you is to set an intention for your practice today. Could be just something very simple, like to lean into whatever you might find in this moment, this day, this particular yoga practice. Or maybe it's something much bigger in your life. Hold space for something you need to process that you're going through. And then we'll begin our class and seal in our intentions with 3 deep cleansing breaths. Take a deep breath in and let it go with a sigh. 2 more like that. And gently bow your head to the heart. Eyes and release. Down onto our backs. You just move all of your props off to the side, lay down on the ground, and take a full body stretch once you arrive here. Reach your arms overhead, lengthen out through the tips of your toes. And notice what happens when you just give yourself permission to take a moment to rest. Notice the mind's reaction and response to that. If you feel called, you could keep the arms overhead, or you could bring your arms down by your sides in Shavasana. So sometimes when we start a class off like this, it just can feel really good. Or sometimes it could be annoying if we really feel like we need to move. And this is the practice. This is the work that we do on our mat. It's just to notice, how do I respond when I'm in this particular situation, when I'm in this particular shape? Knowing full well that if we were to do this every single day, even though the physical shape is the same and looks the same externally, that internally it will always be a different experience. From here, you could place the soles of your feet on the ground with your knees bent, and then take your knees wide with the soles of the feet together in Supta Baddha Konasana. If this is very intense on your hips, place a couple of blocks underneath your thighs. And here you could play with the shape of your arms, letting the arms stay down by your sides with the palms face up, or you could place one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, both hands on your belly, both hands on your heart. Use your own intuition to see what it is that would best serve you in this moment. On your next exhale, could you let the back of your body melt down into the mat and the ground a little bit more? Just a few more breaths. Inhale your knees back up to center. Gently roll to your right side and then come all the way up. Finding tabletop, coming to hands and knees so that your knees are just underneath your hips. Your wrists are just underneath your shoulders, and when in doubt, you can always give yourself a little more space here. You can always walk your knees back a little further, your hands a little more forward. And then tune into your foundation. Notice all parts of your body that are touching the ground and weight into them. See if you could press down into your index finger bones, your thumb mounds. When you're ready, move through a few rounds of cat-cow. As you inhale, tailbone lifts, belly gets soft, melt your heart, look up. As you exhale, round through your back, tailbone lengthens down, move your chin into your chest. Move with your own breath. Then from here, make your way into downward facing dog. Send your hips up and back, and pedal out through your legs, bending one knee, sending the opposite heel towards the earth. Gently waking up the body. Then come into child's pose, knees wide, big toes together. Send your hips back towards your heels. Forehead can come down to the ground or to a block. Then walk your hands over to the right until you get a stretch through the left side body. Come back through center, walk your hands over to the left until you get a stretch through the right side body. Inhale back through center. Find your way back into downward facing dog. Your next inhale, slowly walk your feet forward to meet your hands. And exhale as you fold. You can keep your knees slightly bent here. So the goal is to keep a neutral low back, to not have any rounding in the lumbar spine. And if the hamstrings are very tight, then in order to achieve that, we have to keep the knees bent. So if we let go of what we think the pose should look like, and instead kind of lean into what our bodies need in the moment. As you inhale, lengthen your spine to a flat back. Exhale, bow back in. And do this a few more times. Inhale, lengthen halfway, slide your hands up the sides of your shins. Exhale, fold in. One more. And press down into your feet. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up to the sky. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Take your right hand and wrap it around your left wrist. Press down into your feet. Inhale, lengthen up, and exhale, reach out and over to the right. And send your hips to the left. Notice what happens when there's discomfort. And notice what happens when something feels good. Just measuring our response. Inhale, come back through center. Go ahead and switch hands. Press down into your feet. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, reach out and over to the left. Send your hips to the right. Keep grounding through all four corners of both feet. Breathe. See if you could relax your tongue, relax your jaw. Inhale back through center and exhale, go ahead and release. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up. Exhale, bow forward and fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway to a flat back. Exhale, step back, downward facing dog. Come back down into tabletop. And here we're just going to take a little gentle neck circle. So first, just let your head hang, stretching out the back of the neck. This is a very effective and gentle and safe way to stretch the neck and move the cervical spine, because gravity ensures that we won't just throw our heads back. And it gives us something to work with. So gently now tuck your chin in towards your chest, roll your right ear towards your right shoulder. And then come back, tucking the chin in, left ear towards left shoulder, and just take a couple of half neck rolls like this. Side to side with your breath. And that could be enough for today, or you could try to do a full neck circle if that feels okay on your cervical spine. And then switch directions. Bring your head back to center. Give yourself a minute, especially if you're just a little dizzy. And then when you're ready, you can make your way back into downward facing dog. Move your shoulders away from your ears here in down dog. And lengthen the top of your head towards your thumbs. Inhale, come forward to a high plank, high push-up. Knees can come down here or stay lifted. And as you exhale, chaturanga, bend your elbows straight back, bring your chest down towards the ground. Point your toes, press the tops of the feet down, shoulders up, back and down, heart lifts, and inhale up into cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right leg lifts as you inhale, lunge it forward as you exhale. Come into a high lunge. You could be up on blocks here. Bring blocks to either side of your foot. Press your left thigh up towards the sky. Draw your right hip back in space. Yeah, and the back knee can stay down. That works better for your body. Heart forward, so the sternum rises, shoulder blades onto the back of the heart. Couple of breaths. Then bring your back knee down if it's not already. So you're not on the kneecap, you're just above it at the base of the thigh bone. Your pelvis here can sink down and forward. You could keep your hands down on blocks, or you could inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, release. Bring your left hand down to the ground. Inhale, sweep your right arm up. Exhale, right hand comes back down. Make your way into downward facing dog. Options here are to stay in downward facing dog, to take a rest in child's pose, or to move through vinyasa. Up to you. Let's all meet in child's pose. And when you're ready, make your way back into down dog. Left leg lifts as you inhale, lunge it forward as you exhale. Same thing here, just a few breaths in your high lunge, whatever that looks like for you. Back knee could be lifted here to start, or it could stay down. Here, the pelvis squares towards the front of your mat. The left hip draws back, right hip draws forward. Sternum rises towards your chin. Shoulder blades on the back of the heart. Gaze forward, breathe. Go ahead and bring your right knee down if it's not already. You could stay here just like this. This might be enough, especially as you let the pelvis move down and forward, or you could inhale, reach your arms up. And then we come back to that thread of the practice of how do we sit inside of ourselves when we're in discomfort. It's not like this is a shape that we would hang out in just to watch TV or do things around the house. It's not particularly comfortable. So what's our response to that? And how can we use our breath to move through this moment? Exhale, release both hands down. Then right hand comes down. Inhale, sweep your left arm up. Exhale, release, downward facing dog. Same options here. Down dog, vinyasa, child. palmate back and child's pose. This time in child's, lift your head, walk your hands in just a little and cross your left forearm right in front of your face. Bring your forehead down onto your forearm and stretch your right arm out front. Lift your forehead, go ahead and switch. Bring the right forearm right in front of your face, forehead down onto your forearm. Few breaths here. Go ahead and make your way back into downward facing dog. Right leg lifts as you inhale, lunge it forward as you exhale. This time, pivot your back heel down. Bring your right forearm onto your thigh, left hand onto your hip. For Parsvakonasana. So your pelvis and your chest open towards the left side of your mat. Curl your left shoulder back. Inhale, reach your left arm up over your ear, palm faces down towards the ground. Use your right forearm to guide your right knee open towards your second middle toe. Breathe. Exhale, cartwheel your arms down, pivot your back heel up, downward facing dog. And we'll switch sides. Left leg lifts as you inhale, lunge it forward as you exhale. Pivot your back heel down, take your time. Left forearm to left thigh. You start with your right hand on your hip. Use your forearm to track the knee open. Take your right shoulder up, back, and down. Open up the chest, and then that's it. Top arm out in line with your ear. Breathe. Exhale, cartwheel your arms down, back heel pivots up. Optional vinyasa here. And then we're going to move into pigeon. So if you know that you prefer to do pigeon on your back in a reclined variation, then you can come down onto your back now. Otherwise, from down dog, you can take your right leg up to the sky and bring your right knee forward towards your right wrist. Walk your back toes back and then in towards the midline. So again, working to level the hips towards the front of the mat. Right hip moves back, left hip moves forward. And then you can find your fullest expression of pigeon wherever you are, however that looks. If you're on your back, you could use blocks if you're in the weight bearing variation, or come down to your forearms. I'll open our mouths a little wide. And then take your jaw over to the right, your lower jaw. Back through center and over to the left. Move your lower jaw in circles to one direction. And then the other. And see if for these next few breaths, if you could melt away some tension that's still clinging somewhere in the body. You're on your back. You could bring your foot down and pause in constructive rest with the feet wide and knees knocked. And if you're in the weight bearing version of pigeon, walk your hands in, place your hands, press back into downward facing dog. Take your right leg up to the sky and open the hip. And then we'll switch sides. Left leg lifts, left knee comes forward. And you could find your full expression of pigeon on the second side. This side may be completely different. To see if you could allow that. In this quote, Pema Chodron talks about expecting the ideal to overcome the actual. How many times does this show up on our mat when we ideally wish a pose looked a certain way, or that our body didn't feel a certain way in a particular shape? That we were a little stronger, flexible. Or just in better shape where we didn't feel so tired from our yoga practice. Notice when the mind wanders to the ideal and see if you could bring it back to the actual. And then to practice this loving kindness for ourselves, for what actually is. Oh, this hip is very tight. That's okay. And I breathe into the tightness. I welcome it. And I lean into it. Few more breaths here. Slowly make our way back into downward facing dog. Take your left leg to the sky and open up the hip, and so on the first side, less. Less. Then go ahead and release and come down to sit. And then make your way onto your back. So we're coming to lay down. Inhale, reach your arms overhead, stretch your legs out long. Exhale, hug your right knee into your chest. Take your right knee in your left hand, right arm comes out to the side. Take a breath in here, and as you exhale, twist. Right knee crosses your body over towards the left, look out over your right shoulder. And if your right shoulder doesn't stay down on the ground, just bring your right hand to your right rib cage. Inhale, come back through center. Keep your right knee bent, hug it into your chest again. Then slide your left foot up, so you bend your left knee, place your left foot on the ground. You may not need to do this, but we're just gonna start this way and then you'll be able to make adjustments. Take your right knee and open it towards the side or towards your armpit. And then bring your right arm to the inside of your knee and grab the pinky toe edge of your foot. So it's a half happy baby. Now you probably have rolled over onto the right hip quite a lot. See if you can level that out and keep weight down into the left side of the sacrum, the left side of the pelvis. It's really something how half happy baby can be very different from full happy baby. So give yourself some grace with that if it proves to be a little more challenging feeling this moment. And you could stay like this, or you could extend your left leg straight. And breathe. Can you draw in some deeper breaths down into the belly? If you straightened out the left leg, bend the left knee, sole of the foot back onto the ground, release the clasp of your right foot. Bring your right foot to meet the left, soles of the feet together, knees wide, Supta Baddha Konasana. Inhale your knees back to center. Plug your left knee into your chest, extend your right leg long. Take your left knee in your right hand, left arm comes out to the side. Inhale here, exhale to twist, guide your knee in front of your body, over to the right, gaze out over the left shoulder. Inhale, come back to center. And then we'll find the half happy baby on this side. So bend your right knee, slope the right foot on the ground. Bring your left arm to the inside of your left knee as the knee moves out towards your armpit. Grab the pinky toe edge of your foot. Half happy baby. See if you can level out the weight on your pelvis, your sacrum, your low back. And then you could decide if you wanted to extend that right leg or not. Bend your right knee and bring the sole of the right foot back to the ground. Release the clasp of your left foot. Bring your left foot down to meet the right. Soles of the feet together, knees wide, Supta Baddha Konasana. You bring one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. Down your knees back to center. Then toe heel your feet as wide as your mat. Let your knees knock in onto each other in constructive rest. You could bring your feet in a little closer towards your seat or a little further away. Then keep your feet wide like this, but bring your knees up. Take your arms out to a T or to cactus. Inhale here, exhale, knees to the right, gaze over to the left. Inhale, knees up through center. Exhale, knees to the left, look out over your right shoulders. Just moving through some windshield wiper twists here with your own breath. You go side to side at your own pace. Do one more each side. Inhale, your knees back to center, hug your knees into your chest. Then take your knees wide, soles of the feet up towards the sky, happy baby. And grab onto the pinky toe edges of your feet or your ankles. You could keep this static or a rock side to side. This pose feels complete for you. You can hug your knees into your chest, roll to your right side and come on up. We're gonna set up for our restorative Shavasana, or if you prefer to not use props and to take a traditional Shavasana, that's fine as well. This variation will be called Stonehenge. So for this, it's kind of like legs up the wall, but you keep the knees bent. So you take your two blocks and make pillars at the top of your mat, and then place a bolster on top of that. Hardest part is this, where you just pivot and bring the backs of your calves onto the bolster configuration so that the back of the knees are supported too, and then come down to recline. So up to you, traditional Shavasana, it's more than welcome. Whatever makes you most comfortable, you can use as many or as few props as you like. I'm a Reiki master teacher and I'll offer Reiki and Shavasana. If you like to not receive Reiki, you could just raise your hand now. And then go ahead and make yourself comfortable. Let the weight of your body drop down to the ground. Take a full breath in through your nose and let it go with a sigh. Widen the corners of your eyes and let your eyeballs descend back to their sockets. Give yourself permission to fully surrender here into Shavasana. If you are receiving Reiki, you will feel my hands on your head. Awareness back in the body, with your fingers, your toes. Begin to move and stretch in any way that feels best for you. When you're ready, draw your knees to your chest and roll to your right side. Give yourself a moment here to be just as you are. And then in your own time, make your way back up to find a comfortable seat. When you arrive, close your eyes, bring your hands together in front of your heart. Take a moment to call back your intention that you set at the beginning of class. Feel free to modify or change it in any way. What is the lesson in this wind? What is the storm trying to tell you? What will you learn if you face it with courage, full honesty, lean into it? Let's end our practice and seal in our intentions with a final cleansing breath. Take a full breath in. Let it go with a sigh. Gently bow your head to your heart. The light within me recognizes and honors this very same light in each one of you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you all so much for your practice. A wonderful rest of your evening, weekend. Oh. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. That was great.
Thanks, Erin. Take
Thank
care.
you
Have a
so
nice
much.
weekend.
You.
Bye.